pleasure. So today we're doing something really cool. I just told Will 2 minutes before the call, we are going to build a workflow using Relay app, which is the initial idea which we had. So we will be focusing on extracting leads from viral posts. Okay, so either you do a post which goes viral, or someone in your niche, another influencer, a creator, or one of your competitors does a really good viral post that speaks to your audience, that speaks to your ideal customer profile. It's really good for you to go to that post and extract all of those leads out of that post, and then eventually use it to target them and to identify intent. Okay, if they post on topics which are relevant to whatever problem you're trying to solve, chances are those people are interested and they will be happy to have a conversation, right? So it's a great way of finding people in your niche that are interested in what you're doing with already basically soft opener ready. Hey, I saw you commented on this post. I'm doing a live session on this for free next week. Why don't you come? I thought it would be worth inviting. It's something, for example, I really use a lot. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to go through the process of building this from scratch. Okay, well, maybe for those people who have never used this specific tool, it's called Relay app. It's a free tool, so you don't need to pay anything, and it's a really cool alternative to Zapier. In my opinion, it's great to build anything which is AI based, right? So Will, maybe you can put the link to create an account in the chat. How I like to do this is I'm going to show you the finished tool and the results, and then I'll open a new tab and I'll build it from scratches. Especially if it's your first time using an app like Relay, you don't have to do it live with me. You can just follow along, and then we'll send you the end product so you can test it later. If you're already familiar with Relay, you maybe can build it with me. Okay, I'm going to be going relatively fast, okay, explaining the steps, but for you to replicate it might take some time if you're just getting started. So on the screen now, let me make it slightly smaller so you should see it better. You have the final output of what we're building today. Okay, so this is qualified lead extraction from viral LinkedIn post. How it works is whenever you find a viral post, you will provide it to the agent manually. Okay, so hey, there's this post who had over 1,000 comments or over 100 comments. I think all of these people are really in fit to add what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to sell. Okay, let's extract the leads from there and put them in the list and qualify whether they are in my ICP or not. Okay, so what we want to do is, step one, we want to extract all the qualified leads from LinkedIn, from that specific post. And step two, we want to check whether they're in our ICP or not. To do this, the first thing we create in Relay in the app, and we'll see how to do it in a second, is we create a definition of our ICP where we describe, hey, I'm looking for a tech startup founder in the agriculture space. Okay, that's my ICP. I want to only find people who match these criteria specifically. Then we'll use a third-party tool. I'll show it to you in a second, called Appify, to connect to LinkedIn and extract the actual people from the specific post. And then at last, the last thing we want to do is we want to go through all of the people in the list that we have extracted from LinkedIn, and we want to check their LinkedIn profile. From their LinkedIn profile, we want to use AI to cross-check the LinkedIn profile with the ICP description which you have given. And in the end, we want to basically create a list with the result. And knowing whether these people are in the ICP, this is how the result look like. Just to give you an example, here we have the name of the person that commented on this post, which I decided to scrape. Here is their LinkedIn URL. Here's a quick summary of their profile. Let me format it better. And then we have whether it's in ICP or not, an explanation why. Okay. This person, for example, is in ICP. This is the explanation why this person is in ICP for what I'm trying to sell. Okay, so Relay knows what I'm trying to sell and checks against my ICP description to tell me, hey, this is a good fit for what you're trying to build. The cool part about this is, first we're going to build this exact thing using this workflow tool, which is Relay. And then, since this is a relatively simple build, and I'm just going to drive you through to show you how easy it is to build it, I forecast that will take approximately 20 minutes. Okay, in 20 minutes we'll have this product built from scratches. In the second 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can achieve a similar results using Claude. Okay, so you have multiple perspective over what you can achieve with a workflow app and what you can achieve directly in Claude if you are a Claude user, and then you can compare the results and the pros and cons. We can go over the pros and cons. I'm sure you also have question, and we can go over, which tools you should use when.
Pietro,
Yeah.
before you dive in, I think the audience is a little confused. Are you showing the sheets right now? Because I don't think it's showing up on the screen.
Yep. Sorry, my bad. I didn't change the tab. So this is what I was talking about, right? This is the end result. Okay, so you have the full name, the LinkedIn URL, the summary of the profile. Here you see the ICP fit, whether it is in ICP or not. Okay, by the way, I checked this is all correct. And here you have the explanation of why it's an ICP fit or not.
And this is ICP in this context is ideal customer profile.
Yes, correct.
And so the idea of this workflow is if you're scrolling LinkedIn and there's a post where a lot of people are engaging and you think, wow, all of these people I want to potentially sell to, you can drop them in this workflow and it will go through each individual and actually verify if they're within your buyer persona, right? Are they someone that you should reach out to and actually, send your sales message to?
Exactly. That's a great example. For example, say you are one of my competitor, or even if I'm just myself, right? And I did a really good post. This post had 200 comments. I was like, okay, cool. I want to extract these people, but I don't want to talk with all of them, right? I only want to talk with those among these 220 that actually are within my ICP, right? So this is exactly what we have built. And we'll see it rolling out live as well, okay? I wanted to show you what we're building, the results, and now we basically are going to start building it from scratches. Will, anything else that the audience has? If there's anything at any point in the chat, feel free to stop me and we can go over it, okay?
Yeah, I think we're good for now. My first natural question is how do you create posts to engage people and get people to actually respond? But maybe that's a different session we do.
That's a completely different session. Also, I have no idea, to be completely honest.
You do it well, though. You do it well.
I just I have an idea. I try to do valuable stuff. That's the only thing I understand. But my favorite posts are the one that perform the least well. So I'm just like, I have no idea. Honestly, every month is different.
Yeah, it's always changing.
Yeah, man, crazy, man. Probably you can teach me much more about it. So the first thing we want to do is we open Relay as an application and we'll click on plus and we'll go to create a new workflow. Okay, every time we want to create a new automation, we want to automate a specific task. What we do is we create a workflow. We're going to give it a name just to be punctual, and we're going to say viral LinkedIn post extractor. Okay, so you'll give it a name that tells the agent what it needs to do. And then whenever you create an automation, a workflow like this one, the first thing you need to do is you need to create a trigger. You have to generate a trigger, and a trigger is nothing but an alarm that tells the agent that it needs to wake up and do a specific task. Okay, in this case, when does the agent need to wake up? In this case, we want to have it manually. Okay, we want to, whenever we find or we are scrolling a post that say, hey, this really works, we're going to come here and provide that specific URL to the agent. If you want to have something that runs in an automated way, and for example, hey, Pietro does a really good post, they always speak to my audience, you could, for example, automate it to scrape my post every day and have it in a fully automated way, okay? But you need to be sure that all of my posts speaks to your ICP, because this is still a credit-intensive activity, and it will consume a lot of credit, so it can become expensive. So for now, for this demonstration, let's keep it manual. And whenever we want to start this agent, we're going to have to provide it with an input. Okay, so I'm going to define here the type of input that I want to insert every time it starts, and it's going to be the LinkedIn post URL. So every time I want to start this specific workflow, I need to provide a URL. Say the post which we had before that speaks to this specific audience, I would come here, take this post, copy the URL, copy the link to this post, and then start this specific workflow with that URL included and in the run. Okay, we'll see later how to when we test it how we exactly do this, but it's really, really simple and intuitive. Then once we have set the trigger, the alarm, the next things which we want to do is, and I'm going to add here what are called notes, but it's just to help you keep track with what I'm building. They don't actually change anything in how the agent behaves. the first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to add a description of our ICP. Okay. In this case, to make it really simple, I'm going to create what's called a constant. Okay, we're just going to generate like a block of text that describes that specific ICP. If, for example, okay, I'm sharing the wrong stuff. Sorry, I'm back here. So I inserted a note here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a new step. This new specific step is going to be a utility, and then create a constant. Again, it's just a block of text that includes a description about what we're trying to do here. Okay, in this case, we want to have a multi-line description, so the type will be multi-line, and here we'll have a description of the ICP. Okay, for me, it's really simple. I want the C-level, owner, or director of a tech startup. Okay, these are the people I speak with. You would just simply come here when we will send you the template. We are going to be sharing you the full template which we built today. You can just come here and say, hey, I want to edit these two fields to be whatever your ICP is. If, for example, you have a file like a PDF that already contains all of the information about the specific process which you're trying to do, or the specific ICP person that you're looking for, you can also upload a PDF, right? This just makes it easier for you to start from a very simple point. In general, always consider that these criteria will be matched against what the person has on his profile on LinkedIn, okay? So don't be too narrow, because you risk, okay, even if it's potentially a good fit, it will be screened out, okay? So just give a simple definition of who your ICP is. And then the next step, and again, I'm going to add a note just to highlight what I'm doing, is extract leads with Apify. Okay, we're going to be using a third-party tool, which is called Apify. I'm going to be sharing it in the screen in a second, which is basically nothing but, this is the tool we're talking about. It's a free tool where people can post scrapers, okay? So, for example, when you want to extract information from LinkedIn or from TikTok or from Google Maps, for any software, people can post here and rent out their scrapers, okay? So other people have built it and you just basically run them, okay? So when you open it and you create an account, and again, it's totally free, so you don't have to pay to test it or to use it. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to search for the type of actor which you're looking for, right? So you go to the Apify store, you type here LinkedIn, for example, and you check all of the actors that are active on LinkedIn, okay? LinkedIn profile search scraper, mass LinkedIn profile scraper. Okay, you're going to have to find here an actor which fulfills the task which you are focused on in that time, right? You can use it for LinkedIn like we do now, or you can use it for any other social media platform or any other website in general. Okay, so you don't really have you have a lot of choice. So everything you base it on is, okay, how many stars does it have and how many people are using it. For example, hey, this one must be a really good one, 61K. Actually, no, the valuation is not great. So you're gonna look at them, look at the reviews, and you're gonna use the one that works the best. Okay, it's very, very simple to use, in the sense you don't have to do anything here but identify the right actor for the specific task which you want to do. And once you have done that, okay, once you have created the account, you will be able to select it and use it from Relay, okay? And the setup is very, very simple. How you do it is, yes, I'm sharing the right one this time. So we're gonna click on plus, and we're gonna look for the specific app which we want to use in this case. Okay, in this case we have Apify. Okay, Apify is the app which we have just seen that we use to extract information, and you can only do one thing here. You can run a specific actor. Okay, these scrapers are called actors, and you basically run them to do a specific task, extract information from a third-party tool. In this case, LinkedIn. Okay, when you tell Relay that you want to use this specific tool, it will ask you to select the actors which you want to use. Okay, and if you go here, you can type and look for the actor that has the name you're looking for. Okay, in this case, we want to use LinkedIn post comment scraper. Okay, this one which I know for a fact that works really well. Okay, but you can test it with different ones. And we are going to be telling Relay, hey, use this actor and then give us the result. Okay, once you select that actor, the interface will naturally change to ask you for the information that the actors need from you, which is going to be, hey, give me the URL of the specific LinkedIn post which we need in this case. So you need to point in the direction of the LinkedIn post which we use to start this run. We said that when we created the trigger at step 1, we had to give a post to tell him, hey, I want you to scrape this post. So if you go back to point 1, where we had the manual start, and you hover on it, you'll see that the LinkedIn post URL with which we started this specific run appears. So we're just going to select that, and then we can select the maximum number of comments to scrape per each post. Okay, here, depending on your spending profile, always start to the low limit so you can test it in a contained environment without spending too much credits. But otherwise, you can increase it to 100 or 1,000, just as many comments as you want. And then you can also select. Yeah.
Quick question for you. We have a question from Hannah, talking about being paranoid about LinkedIn. Can you talk about this for a second?
Yes. If you haven't seen it because I didn't do the setup, but if you do the setup with yourself, as in you create a Apify account and you connect it with Relay, you will see that at no point anything will ask you to connect your LinkedIn profile. In general, that's a great sign for you that this is not running through your own LinkedIn profile. So all of this activity, this scraping activity, can't be connected with you at any point. So technically, yes, this is against LinkedIn term and condition, okay? But fundamentally, you're not using your own profile. The only person, the only actor that is gonna have issue is Apify, if anything, okay? Because all of the scraping is done through them and not at any point through your own profile. So bottom line, you don't have to worry about anything.
Awesome, thank you.
So you select whether you want to scrape the replies, like when you comment on a post, other people can reply. So you can select if you want to extract those as well. In general, I always keep no. And then this is the coolest part. In general, actors, you don't need to know this, but actors require, they all give you the response, the result in a different format. Okay. And in general, it's really hard to make that format fit in your agent. At least it was up until before AI. Now with Relay, what you can do is you can ask to the Relay app assistant to basically auto configure itself. And to do so, you just need to provide an example of a LinkedIn post so that LinkedIn can use that Relay can use that basically to test how the output will be created and use those information to generate a post. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to select this post, right? Just to, any post will work here, but just select one that doesn't have too many comments so it doesn't consume too much credits. And I'm going to tell him, hey, start the auto configuration. Let's see if it works. Perfect. Let's see. No, it didn't work. So I'm going to tell him, hey, auto configure. And perfect, fantastic. Let's give it one more second and see if it starts the auto configuration one. Otherwise, it seems like it's lagging or bugging. I'm gonna try one more time. Fantastic. So I'm gonna tell him, hey, I opened the Relay app assistant. It's basically a copilot that helps me within Relay, and I'm gonna tell him, try to tell him to do this very same thing. It seems like this is not calling it correctly. Yesterday it worked, today it doesn't. It happens. And I'm gonna tell him, hey, help me set up, configure the format of the dataset item from the Apify actor. You can test it for this post. So I just dictated this quick introduction, and then I pasted the URL of the LinkedIn post of this very specific post. And let's see if this works. This should do the very same way, but make sure that it's configured also here. Okay, so it's starting by understanding what's included in that specific actor, and then it will go through the process of updating the Apify actor. In general, and this is also good learning, and it's good that at times it happens that something don't work. Whenever you encounter an issue, I really like this app because it's basically help you help you do everything which you get stuck. So basically, if you're doing this, but I'm not here, or Willie is not here to give you a hand and give you the information you need, you can always just open the Relay Assistant and ask him for information. It's basically a super informed agent that knows all about this app and all about how workflow work. So this can really help. We see that it's working. It's trying to test the actor. So it's doing basically the auto configuration process that he was supposed to do with this button down here.
Yeah, when in doubt, you can always just ask the AI assistant. It will always be able to at least get you to some kind of answer that will be better than just giving up on it. So when in doubt, definitely ask that.
And you see that now we completed a test run. What it's doing is using that test run to understand the output of this specific actor, and then it will use those information to basically configure the next following steps, right? So it's going through all of that process, and while it goes through this, we can already start working on the next step, and then we'll come back here to check that everything worked correctly. You see it continues working, and you can go ahead and add other parts to your workflow. What we're going to do next is, hey, we have created the ICP. We have hopefully extracted the commenters from the specific post which we have selected. What we want to do next is we want to take those all of the people that have commented on the profile and use AI to cross-check those profiles with the ICP. Hey, is this profile which you extracted using Apify, matching with my ICP? Yes or no, and why? Okay. To do that, we have to insert into Relay what's called an iterator. Okay, an iterator helps you go through a list of things, a database of things, like this list of people which we have extracted, and for each item, for each line in that specific list, it can help you do specific tasks. Okay, so we're going to add what's called an iterator. Okay, so if you type an iterator or loop over a list, it will add another table here that asks you, hey, connect this with a list. Okay, so an iterator always goes together with a list of items, like the list of people which we have generated here, and it will help you go through that list of the list of people and do specific actions for each single one of them. So for example, for the first lead in this list, do the research, match this profile with my ICP, and then give me a report about how much of a fit he is with my ICP, right? Then once you have finished, go to the next step and do this very same thing for the next person in that list. I'm going to have to wait for this to finish, and sorry if this is taking a bit long. Usually this is much faster, but basically this is still reasoning through, trying to understand the output of this specific actor, okay? Once that is done, it should give me here the possibility to run that specific actor, to use the list that is outputted from the specific actor and run a specific set of steps for that specific list, okay? At this point, it's still working, so we're going to have to wait a second. In the meantime, we can create the steps inside the iterator. Okay, for every item in the list that hopefully we'll manage to set up, extracting from this step, we will need to do two things. Number one, we will want to go to search the specific profile of the person. Okay, so we're going to go and look for LinkedIn here. Okay, we see that it's setting up. Hopefully this should be working. It's confirming the current structure and it's reworking the iteration. As you can see, all of this is done automatically. Again, normally this is much easier using that specific button there. And okay, perfect. So it has managed to go through these steps. As you can see, it did everything automatically. It added another step by himself that helped me use this specific step. And then he has also connected it to the iterator. For each item in the comments list that he has extracted from the Apify iterator, run these following steps. Okay, and here we will create the steps that we need to make sure that we match the ICP, the profile of that specific person with the ICP. So the first thing we'll do, which we were trying to do earlier, I'm gonna type LinkedIn and I'm gonna tell him, hey, search for a specific profile, okay? And search for a specific profile. Here we should find the comment URL, the author, and the profile URL. Okay, so we will find, if we go to the list of people in that specific output of this tab, we should be able to find, if we go to the author section, the profile URL of the specific person. Okay, if no profile are found, continue without a result. So I'm telling you, for each of this comment, you'll have the URL of the person. What I want you to do is, I want you to navigate to their LinkedIn profile and extract all the information you can from that profile. Okay, we will use this information in the next step to double check it with our ICP. So what we're going to do next, always within the loop, so we want to do it one time for each person in that list. We're going to add an AI step, and we're going to tell him, hey, add a custom prompt, and in the specific prompt, I will tell him, I want you to check if the LinkedIn profile of the person is a fit with my ICP. And then I will type at and pointing in the direction of the ICP, where we define the ICP in step 2. So I want you to check if the LinkedIn profile of the person is a fit with my ICP. And then I link into the point 2 where we described our ICP as the first step we have done. And then I want to tell him, for each person, and I'm also going to paste this in the chat, for each person return the full name, the LinkedIn URL, a summary of their profile, an ICP fit, an explanation on why you gave yes, not, and uncertain as a response. Okay, so I tell him, tell me if it's a yes, no, or if you're uncertain, and then explain me why you gave the answer. Please use uncertain when you can't find information and include or exclude the person from the ICP. So basically, I'm just explaining, hey, this is how I want you to reason. Use this information to basically generate that final file. Okay, I also pasted here in the chat. One more time, you guys don't have to be it with me. We will send you the final output of this, so you can test it, edit it. You will already have all of the prompt, all of what we have defined here. Whenever you create an AI step like this, one of the coolest part about using a workflow app is you can select the model which you prefer. So for example, here, by default, it will give me GPT 5.4 mini, but you can change it to Gemini 3.1 if you want, for example, a cheaper model, or if you want something, for example, if you wanted also to draft an outreach message, you would use something more capable like 4.8, which is obviously much more expensive, right? So in this case, we don't need to change everything. We see that it also creates basically an ideal output by himself. Okay, so it generates the output by himself, and we're just going to proceed with what he has auto-generated. So most of it has also AI embedded, and we don't need to go through the step and do the steps by ourselves. Okay. So we have given the LinkedIn post. We have created the description of our ICP. We have used Apify, which normally by just using this auto configure button, which would be much simpler and much faster than what we have done now. We have then connected the output of Apify to the specific iterator. Within the iterator, for each item in the list of people that we have extracted, we will search for the profile, and we will prompt Gemini 5.4 to help me match with my ICP. And then once we have done that, we only have one final step is, hey, once we have done that, I want to create a Google Sheet or a CSV or whatever format works best for you. In this case, I'm going to use a Google Sheet. I want to use a Google Sheet, and I want you to basically, every time you run this, write the list to a new spreadsheet. Okay. What this does is it will generate a new sheet in your Google Drive. You need to connect to your Google Drive and give access. You can also just ask him, hey, send it to me via email with the CSV, right? But for me, it's better to have this as the result of the iteration, and we tell him in the list, I want you to run the results of step 5. Okay, so all of the AI output which you have generated here, and then we tell him, hey, put it in my drive and add the specific title to the spreadsheet. And I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna call him, I don't know, let's say post extraction and then current date and time. Post extraction, current post extraction, and then I'm gonna type here and add current date and time. Okay, and here we have basically the result of what we have seen at the beginning. Okay, we have went through all of the steps. Again, it was an issue currently with the platform. At times it happens, but in general, it's much easier to set up Apify. You need to create an Apify account to do this. But once you run this, let's see a test run. I'm gonna go and grab a post. Okay, so I'm gonna select, for example, this post, which you have seen here, which doesn't have many comments. I'm gonna copy the link to the post. I'm gonna go back here. Okay. Okay, here, and I'm gonna tell him, hey, test this, and I'm gonna paste the URL of the specific post. Okay, and I'm gonna tell him, hey, start a test run. Okay, and what this does, it will bring you from the editor to the actual run, and the actual run will also show you what it's doing, how much credit is consuming, and you will be able to look at the result of each single step. So the benefit of having a workflow app like this one, like Relay, is that you can really audit and monitor all of the results of all of the steps which are going through in a workflow. Yes, I'm sharing the right screen. And then at the end, we will see that it will have created a new list, and hopefully the list will have all of the information about the person, what's included there, and all of the ICP fit or not. If you want to go one step further and make it more complex and more sophisticated, in this prompt, you can also add, hey, I don't just want this information, I also want a customized message for them. And you can tell him based on, for example, this example of message that really work well for me. Okay, so you can go one step further, edit it, and instead of Gemini 3.1 or OpenAI, you can use basically any model which you prefer. Okay. Will, I saw you put something on the screen. Were there some questions while I was going through it?
No, I was just putting your the prompt you put up just so
perfect.
everyone could see it, because I think it's important, and obviously, like, this is something that you guys can customize based off of your specific needs. This is just a good boilerplate, but really, like, this works for this workflow, but you can apply the same thought process to any workflow that works for you. All we're saying is use an AI model to extract this information from a data set we've provided. And so when you kind of boil down and understand what's happening underlying, you can use this same kind of thought process and methodology for other workflows too.
Yes, exactly. And in general, once you receive it, once we will send it, the only thing you need to do to test it on your specific company would be, hey, I'm going to edit here. Okay, so when I share it, I can share everything, including the prompt, which you have just seen, and you would just need to come here and edit this part. Okay, say, hey, I don't want this specific post, I want another one. And then you would be able to test it with whatever prompt you want, okay, whatever post you want, right? So you just go find a post that speaks to your audience. We see in the meantime here there was already another issue. I'm gonna check what the issue is. Error while finding profiles. Relay app didn't find anything when attempting to import data. Double check the loopback configuration before trying this step. Whenever an error happens, you can just ask the agent on the side to help you run it, right? So if we ask the agent on the side, it should understand the mistake, and it should tell me, hey, this is what went wrong. As this will take a little bit of time, and we'll be able to see the result in a second. Okay, it already worked. The problem is clear. Perfect. And then he told me, hey, it didn't work because one of the people who commented on the post was a company page and it wasn't an individual. And this step was set up exclusively for people. So he has already recommended an upgrade, which I can just allow. And once you do this, it will go through and reactivate the step and then already tell me what's going to happen next. Okay. So in general, once you build this, it will also help you debug it. Okay, so it's really important that you go through the process of testing it to see, hey, did I do something wrong? Was there something there which was unexpected? And then see that it goes through the full run completely. Hopefully this time it should be working. It's going through it, and it has completed the run. Though yes, it just failed over some steps, but he has completed all of the people, so it basically left out the companies. And if I go to the result, it should have, let me format it better so we can read it better. Look, this LinkedIn profile, the summary of the profile, whether it's an ICP fit, and explanation for the ICP. Luke is the co-founder of this company, a tech startup, which is what I'm looking for. The perfect fit criteria of being a C-level owner of director of a tech startup. Perfect. Okay. And if I go to the post and we check here, we're just checking that he selected the right people. Let me see if there is a Luke among the commenter. Okay, I see Luke commented here and he's the right person. Oh, sorry, I'm saying the wrong one. Sorry, I'm used to this changing automatically. So I went to the post here that we selected. I'm just checking the comments. Hey, I want to check that Luke is here, and I find it here. And then I'm gonna check that there are all of the other person. I say Luzin, just checking that Luzin is also here, and I find Luzin here. Okay, so this went through all of the steps. There was also a mistake, which is something we didn't consider while we was building, which is company page, and it basically helped me also debug it and make sure that it runs properly. Now, unless you have any specific question on this one, in the remaining 10 minutes before we leave some time for Q&A at the end, Will, I want to show you how I would approach this very same task, but using Claude. Okay. Will, stop me if you want to go over something else or some question. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and share Claude directly.
Yeah, I guess the first question I would have is when do you pick Relay over Claude and vice versa?
So what we have seen here is that we have generated a very structured approach to doing this task. Okay, we have generated subsequent steps. For each of the steps, we can go in and check the result, and we have a very good overview how much it consumes, how much credit it spend, and we can select all of the models which we want. So if we want to run it with OpenAI, but then we want to run it with Claude, we want to change something, we want to run it with Gemini because it's better or something else, you can have a condensed and structured approach to it directly into a workflow app that combines all of these items together. Okay, this also in this specific case it doesn't apply, but in general we could have set this to happen automatically, right? So every day or every time like an individual like you post, I want to scrape your post automatically without the need of me going there and telling you, hey, go ahead and do this. Now that we'll see how it happens in Claude, you'll see that in Claude, in general, you are the orchestrator of the workflow in the sense that not in this specific case, it was manual anyway, but in a case where you want something to happen reliably over a subsequent amount of times, whatever, for example, anytime someone posts, this needs to happen. Every time someone submits a form on my website, this needs to happen. When you need that reliability and that structure, a workflow app gives you something that Claude still doesn't give you. On the other side, Claude is simpler in the sense you do everything interacting with your copilot, Claude Cowork or Claude Chat, whatever copilot you're using for the specific task, and it in general it's something that people already have in their tech stack, right? So if the reliability and the auditability of the workflow are not important, Claude is generally an easier way to introduce and an easier way to test this specific task. When it becomes something repetitive that you want to happen without any of your input, then it becomes then really becomes a better option. And here I'm gonna go to show you. I'm not gonna build it from scratch because there's no time, but in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna basically show you how I approach this if I want to do it on Claude. Okay, let's say it's the first time I want to do it. I don't want to generate a workflow because I don't want to do it in a repeated basis, and the cost doesn't really matter to me. I just want to get started and see how it works. I'm gonna just go to a Claude Chat. If you do this in Cowork, it's better because Cowork it's much better at complex tasks where there are a lot of connectors and a lot of input data. And I'm just going to go to a chat and tell him I found a LinkedIn post that speaks to my audience. I want to extract all of the people who commented on that post. I want to use the best actor you can find on Apify. So you'll see that we use the same external tool to do the scraping, because Claude by design can't access LinkedIn because there's no connection with LinkedIn, just like Relay doesn't have one. They used to have one, now they don't have it anymore. And then I want to generate a list with all the information you could find. And then once you have done that, I want to check with me for the next step. Okay, so I describe what I want to do and I provide a LinkedIn post. Okay, this is a LinkedIn post of a person that speaks to my audience, for example. It's Ruben, he does training for non-technical people, so it's a really good fit. And I'm going to tell him, hey, do all of this. While you do this, you need to make sure that you have already installed the connector which you need. In this case, we needed the Apify connector. So what you would do is you would go to the customize section in Claude, you would go to the connector section in Claude, and here you'll be able to look for existing connectors that you can install, okay? Apify, for example, is one of the ones that have an existing connector pre-approved from Anthropic. So this is actually super easy to install. You click on the plus and it basically becomes available. You need to do an authentication, so a login with your login and password, but then it's done. You don't need to do anything else. So it's really, really easy to set this up. In my workflow, for example, I also install Apollo, which I use for enriching the emails and finding the email of people. So you can connect all of the connectors which you need for this very specific task. Once you have done this, Claude, in this task which we were seeing, let me go back up to the top of the task, will be able to run through this entire process by himself. So we see that, for example, here in this chart, he has used the connector here with Apify, with Apollo, with my personal Chrome. It goes through Apify, identified by himself, so without the need of me telling you which actor I want to use. It finds the best actor. It goes through the post. It finds 82 commenters on that specific post. And then it goes through the process of extracting all of those information. And then it found 68 individual commenters, 11 company page, 2 self-comment by Ruben, the author of the post himself. And then it tells me, hey, each row, it goes through telling me all of what he has done. And then it proposed next step. In this case, I want to run an enrichment. So I want to find additional information using another connector, Apollo, which is another tool I use in my tech stack. You don't need to do this, but if you want to find the email, the role of that person, Apollo is a really good way to do this. Then I tell him, yes, go ahead, use Apollo. And without me needing to do basically anything, it goes through Apollo, use my account in Apollo, which I have previously authenticated, which is really, really simple. And it enrich all of these people. And basically the result, and then I will stop. There are some more steps to this if you want to do it more sophisticated, but it creates a list of people, the headline, the profile URL, the comment they have left. And then if you want to go one step further, and it's something which I usually do, is, hey, I also want you to, for example, tell me if they are in ICP or not based on a specific product. And I paste here my specific product. And then I tell him also, I'm going to give you a database of people which I worked with in the past, which took my courses in the past. Check if these people match with the ICP which I have defined and with my past customers. And Claude by himself open a page, goes through my course database page, which is when I run the courses on Maven, is able to access it using a browser extension and check through all of the information about those people as well. So you will use those information to actually provide a better response and give me a better output for this specific task. It does all of this just by prompting. It's just about defining a process and giving access to the right tool so that this can really do a good job. And basically the final output is, hey, I have a CSV and an Excel with the ICP fit, the ranking. I ask him to rank it from 1 to 5 based on how much in fit with that specific description of my ICP and specific course which I gave, and it gives me all of these in a CSV file. What I could do next is I'm going to also ask him to basically craft an outreach message to tell them, I saw you commented here, why don't you come to my workshop next week, which is exactly on the same topic. Okay. And it's, I tell him to personalize based on what they comment, and he returns the ideal message for these people. The 55, hey, I saw you comment on this post that the frustration comes from not using the features properly. It's exactly the gap I work on. I'm doing a workshop next week talking exactly about this, right? So soft CTA, something that would work well on LinkedIn. and I'm basically just gonna use this method to reach out and invite them to my workshop. Sorry, I know I talked a lot. I just wanted to give you the perspective. Let's give some room for Q&A.
Yeah, please drop some questions below. One question I have is like, I think a lot of questions that I have watching these types of workshop is like, how much of this is instructional versus like how much of this do you actually use? Are you using a workflow similar to this for your own
Yes,
growth?
for this, yes, this is actually something I use in my day to day, because this really helps me when I have a workshop to get the right people to come. Okay, so when I have a workshop which is not getting organic traction, I run this. I go to big profile in the iSpace, and I was like, okay, this speak to. Well, okay, I'm doing a workshop on skill. I'm gonna look for someone speaking about skill, and I'm gonna just invite them. I'm not gonna try and sell them something. Hey, join my course, pay $600, but I'm going through. Okay, I'm gonna go with a very soft CTA, and generally people enjoy coming to this session, right? If I explain you how to do this for free, why not? Eventually, some of them convert to the course, but this is something I actually use. And how you do this is when you finish this process, or once you do it and you know you do it multiple times, instead of just doing it every time like this, you would create a skill, right? So if you go to the customize section, in the skill section, I have LinkedIn comment lead pipeline, which describe exactly this process. And instead of going through it, I just need to tell him, hey, Claude, run the LinkedIn comment pipeline for this new post, which I have. Right? Instead of going through them, I define a skill that tells him, this is how I want you to do this specific task. He will understand I want to use the skill, and he will go through the process and will just give me the output, which is the Excel list. Okay, so you don't need to go through all of the process. I'm ready to run the command lead pipeline. I need to paste the URL, right? I'm not going to do it because it takes a lot of time and we wouldn't have time to see it. But this would basically just output the CSV with the names.
Yeah. Very cool. I'm curious, how many people have tried building things in Claude Cowork? Are we using more like platforms like Relay or Zapier, maybe N8N if you're more technical? I would love to know in the audience.
My opinion, while other people answer in the chat, is
Yeah.
I do 80% in Claude and 15% in a workflow tool for things which are really, really repetitive. Okay, this is more or less the spread which I have. And then 5% is basically super specialized tool. I don't know, image generation, video generation. You want to use something which is really specific to that, right? You don't want to just use the random stuff. So this is my personal journey, and Claude became really, really good. Before I was doing more with Relay, now I rebalanced a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Relay is great, or those types of tools are great for things that need to happen on like a schedule or routine, that are way more predictable.
Exactly.
Where I'm sitting talking to Claude all day every day at this point.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, in general, you can see it like we use 3 tools in this workflow, and I never left Claude, right?
Yeah.
So I do everything from there. You could connect it also with your CRM and save those people in your CRM. So it's if you ask again next month or in 2 months, the answer will be different as well.
Yeah. I think we have some more. Sorry, my chat is bugging out, but I think there was a question again on just like when to use Claude versus these workflow tools, and it seems like the sentiment is yes, Claude is allowing more routines and more scheduled things, which might replace some of it, but you definitely get more deterministic workflows and outputs on something more structured like Relay. I feel like you can fine tune and control the output a lot more. Is that similar to how you feel, Pietro?
Yes. I totally agree, especially when I want something to happen, when something needs to happen, right? For example, I don't know, anytime someone submits a form on my website, I want to immediately send them an email that qualifies their interest and ask them a couple of follow-up questions, right? That needs to happen within 5 minutes, right? So I need something that reliably can trigger that specific workflow. Whenever someone submits a form on Tally, I want to send them an email confirming they have received it. That needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
I need something like that, similar, this was just example, Relay is definitely a superior solution because it's much more reliable and controllable.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, amazing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining as always. For those who are joining for the first time, we run these weekly. So we have weekly workshops going through different builds. We have guests on like Pedro who show us different things than I can do myself. So it's always great to learn from other experts. We've been talking a lot about AI search and showing up AI visibility. You can actually see on our website for free how you are ranking on your own website. So if you go fill out this form, you'll get a full audit on how AI is talking about you and how to outrank your competitors. So go over there, take a look at that. If not, I hope to see you guys in future sessions. And Pedro, thank you so much for joining us. This was so valuable. We'll send everything to everyone who joined today. And please look forward to joining in next sessions.
Thank you, Will. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.